Big video game news today. Xbox had massive layoffs. Probably already know. I'm sure there's a bunch of videos on that right now. I don't know what's going on with Xbox. I don't think Xbox is going away, but it doesn't look like things are going very well over there. Maybe we'll talk about that on Saturday. I wonder what the future of Xbox looks like. I also wonder what the future of Kotaku looks like. Because today, Kotaku has been sold and GO Media is shutting down. The only thing that they have left is The Root. And apparently they're looking for a buyer on that one too. So the days of activist media are coming to an end. Kotaku still exists, by the way, to be clear, and they're not getting shut down, but they are sold, and they were sold for cash. I wonder how much. I don't have those details, but I bet you it wasn't that much, because what is Kotaku worth? They became known as an activist video game site. Remember the famous, I believe they published the famous butt plug article about the best way to play Animal Crossing with vibrators. I'm not kidding. That's a real article that exists. They also helped kick off things like Gamergate 2, thanks to Alyssa Mercanti, and a few other things. Awful website, which, by the way, for the past, 2 months or so? It's been a minute. They haven't really posted any culture war content. It's kind of been straight up just video game news, entertainment news. You could snag a PS5 for just $350 this holiday season. The best 15 RPGs of 2024. Mario Kart World is an open world Switch 2 launch game. What else do we got here? Actual news. Xbox hit with latest mass layoff. 9,100 jobs. That's a lot, man. Yeah, Microsoft's going through some shit. But Kotaku also going through some shit. I don't know. Why would you buy this site? Unless you plan on just flooding it with AI articles for clicks, I guess. But the whole staff, everyone's getting retained for now. I guarantee you they're going to probably rework the pay of a lot of people there, because they'll just give them a choice. Either rework or we're going to close the site. So, I mean, they would still own the domain name, but just shut it down and have it redirect to shit. And that's something they could also do. But GO Media winds down, selling off one of its last sites, which means this is one of the last. They still have The Root. But Kotaku was one of the last sites that they had to unload because nobody wants this piece of shit. Which is why I think that they didn't get that much for it. But GO Media, the digital media publisher that once owned sites like Jezebel and Deadspin, announced on Wednesday that it is winding down its operations and selling off one of its last properties, Kotaku. GO Media, which is owned by the private equity firm Great Hill Partners, once owned a collection of websites that had belonged to Gawker Media, and that includes The Onion. The Onion just tried to buy InfoWars or something like that long ago. There was a whole thing with that. I think it got blocked, but it has slowly been shedding its holdings with the sale of Kotaku. Only one website remains, The Root, which covers black culture and news. GO Media's chief executive said in a statement on Wednesday that it became clear to our investors that it was time to move on, alluding to a series of challenges that have faced the digital media industry in recent years. Yeah, they've destroyed their reputation. You see it all the time. Look no further than a really good example going on right now. Ironheart. a lot of these sites that talk about entertainment, these access media sites, they all say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's amazing, one of the best Marvel shows ever, and that's a lie. Nobody trusts these people. And then if you don't go with what they say, they just attack you and call you sexist bigots. They clearly, in cases like Kotaku, resented their audience, resented gamers. Nobody wants to go read from a website that hates them. So Kotaku, that brand is damaged beyond belief. I would love to know how much they paid for it. I bet you it wasn't much. I mean, what would you pay for Kotaku? What would you even buy it? I mean, I guess, like I said before, you could buy it and redirect to something else. That'd be what I would do with it. If I were to buy Kotaku, that's exactly what I would do with it. I would have it redirect my YouTube channel. Gotcha. But that's not what they're going to do with it. They're going to try to keep it running. The real question I have is, what does the new Kotaku look like under this leadership? But either way, like, this is the end of the line. The next step is closing. Because this kind of video game model of entertainment is dead. I mean, I would rather just go watch a YouTuber that I like, talk about it while I play a video game in the background or something, or listen to it while I'm doing stuff. Or hell, I'll just go to Twitter directly and go follow the game studio and see it for myself. I've talked about this before. These kinds of websites like Kotaku were relevant before social media got big because they were kind of the middleman. Social media eliminated the middleman because you can just go follow your favorite studios or platform and you'll get the news directly. Because now companies can talk directly to you, not through them to you. That's really why, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what ultimately was always going to kill these websites. They could have kind of kept it going if they hadn't been such a-holes. But YouTubers kind of have filled that space that they used to have. Anyway, GeoMedia's chief read that publishers have been battling for advertising against tech giants like Google and Meta. While generative AI is reshaping the media landscape, investors don't see a promise of growth in digital publishing in the way they did before the coup. So Mr. Spanfeller was quick to say that Great Hill had been a very good partner and had never weighed in on editorial direction. This is in no way a suggestion that Great Hill was in some way acting like a rapacious private equity firm, he said. In April, GeoMedia sold the business news site to Quartz and the commerce site The Inventory to Redbrick, a Canadian software company. In recent years, it also sold off a bunch of other sites. You probably remember the AV Club or Jezebel. Mr. Spanfeller said that he will still be working to find a buyer for The Root, but that GeoMedia will exit having increased shareholder value. Oh, I bet. Yeah, getting rid of all this trash. Definitely going to be a win for GeoMedia for sure. And it says Mr. Spanfeller was frequently at odds with the staff at his publications. He also used his letter to attack unions. In a number of ways, unions have added value to editorial employees' positions during a time of major change, he wrote, but in many ways, the core methods that unions work with, or rather against companies working hard to change with the times, is counterproductive to both their membership as well as the companies as a whole. I believe Kotaku is unionized, and they get a lot of money to write the shit that they write. It's kind of crazy, like the money and benefits that Kotaku people make when they're so useless. I mean, what is more useless than a video game journalist? Because they're not even really good at video games most of the time. All they do is whine if a video game is too difficult, or they have to put in any work or play the game. They also seem to hate gamers. How many times have we seen these people like pretty much just come out and just outright hate gamers? Because all the good ones have left. All the good ones are doing their own thing. They have their own platforms, or they've transitioned into like being a content creator on YouTube or writing a Substack. Like all of the good video game journalists have went independent. A really good example of that would be like Colin Moriarty. Very good video game journalist. He does his own thing. He's not a part of any of these websites anymore. And it's like that in most cases. Most of the good video game journalists are gone. Destin, now he used to be at IGN. He's actually a pretty good video game journalist. I don't think he's been active, like an activist, but for the most part, I've always remembered him being pretty good. All of those guys, he's doing his own thing. He's got a Patreon and a YouTube channel, apparently. Like they're all doing their own thing now, which is smart. But anyway, let's finish this up. So a European tech media company bought Kotaku. It's this Keleops company in an all-cash deal. Their chief executive said he declined. Oh, never mind. He just confirmed that it was an all-cash deal. He declined to close the financial details of the site. The company is based in Switzerland. And they also apparently bought Gizmodo from them. Now, Gizmodo is still kind of very left-wing, so I would imagine that Kotaku is going to remain that way. Hell, they might go back to being an activist site. Time will tell. Time will tell. But now we say start the clock, because now I'm going to go ahead and say Kotaku's time is quickly running out. So they say, we want to build an international media group that is focusing on tech in a very broad sense, and gaming is, I would say, a natural part of that universe. They have a very iconic and very different voice in the gaming industry, and this is extremely important to keep for our loyal readers. And we'll try to make it even better. And he claims that when they purchased Gizmodo in June of 2024, that they doubled the audience of Gizmodo in the United States in the past year and quadrupled it globally. According to ComScore data from May, Gizmodo had 8 million unique visitors in the United States and 15 million from the rest of the world. So we'll see what happens. I guess the real question is, what do they do? Do they turn Kotaku into a respectable video game site and keep them open? Or, because they kept everybody that's there still, which is only a handful of people from what I understand, does Kotaku quadruple down on being a shitty activist site? I mean, this is the end of the line for Kotaku. They're either going to change and become respectable and kind of hang on, or they're going to let them run loose and wild like they have been, and they're going to shut down. But either way, total chud victory here, ladies and gentlemen. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. Also, subscribe. Also, check out my comic book. There's a link in the description. Made a fun, action-packed, independent comic book here. It's totally done. It'll be shipping out around the time the campaign ends, which ends July 26th. You can jump in on this book for a very low price. Cover D is only $17. We have other covers, but if you just want to jump in, it's only $17. So check that out. Link in the description. Comment, like, subscribe, share the video, hit that notification bell. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
The year is 1945. World War II rages from the halls of Buckingham Palace to the shores of the Nile River. Even now, the clash between freedom and tyranny is about to boil over. Somewhere in North Africa, 2 American flyboys are soaring high on a reconnaissance mission, searching for clues to a peculiar new obsession, with the occult gripping the Nazi high command.